Hey guys, it's Amanda, and today's video I'm going to be telling you how to prepare for an audition and also some tips for an audition. So in my last video I talked about some tips and how and what to expect for your first year as a theater student in college. So this is like the audition portion of what you need to do and stuff like that if you are a theater major. So we are going to start with the preparations, then I'm going to give you a few tips that'll help you. So, firstly, you need to have a monologue memorized. That is probably the most important thing. Is make sure you have a monologue that suits you and also that you have memorized. Maybe something you've used for a previous audition or that you know well, maybe a part you had previously, just something that you know very well. And if you're someone like how I was, and you're having trouble finding a monologue, just research, either female or male monologues for young men or young women so you can find a monologue that'll fit you. And usually there's websites that'll have ones that are either comedy or drama. So whichever one you feel like, if you're good at comedy, do a comedy one. If you're more dramatic, do a dramatic one. So there's a lot of different options. And there's also an app called Soliloquy. I actually used that for a monologue that I did a couple years back. It was a Shakespeare monologue. I can't remember the name of it because it's been a while, but I used that and it was really good. And it was, it wasn't too long, it wasn't too short, so that was a good app for that. As well as another thing with the monologue, try to make it 2 minutes long. Actually, like between like a minute and 30 seconds and like 2 minutes. Like, don't make it less than that because I feel like that's not enough time, but don't make it longer than that because most auditions only want you to have it 2 minutes or less. But I just feel like a minute and 30 seconds. That way they can really see how you act and stuff like that. So, I mean, some monologues, don't just get discouraged if it looks like it's really long because you can shorten it. I've done that with monologues too. Just try to find like a good cutoff spot so you can still do that. Because, I mean, if you really want to do a monologue and you feel like it suits you, and especially if it's something you know well, it's better to just cut it down so you can still do that monologue. You don't have to just not do it at all. So, the biggest thing is a monologue. And second, have a music piece prepared and memorized as well. Again, this can be something that you've done previously or that you know well. And make sure you have the sheet music as well as have like the proper cuts for the sheet music, because most of the time when you're doing an audition, again, usually that's under a minute, I believe, that they want you to sing. So, or 30 bars, something like that. So 30 bars of music. So you're going to want to, cut the music so the accompanist will know. And I mean, you have a couple minutes before your audition starts usually to tell the accompanist where it starts, but most people like myself, we don't start at the beginning of the song because there's higher points that might be better for you, or that you sound better, or that you even know better. So, or that'll show your voice more. So make sure that you have your music cut, and also make sure like before, because I'm saying 30 bars, check your school like requirements, because they'll usually send you an email or something telling you like, hey, we need you to prepare this, and or whatever. So make sure it's like however much. It could be longer, it could be shorter, I'm not sure, but for me it's usually always been 30 bars. So for auditions I've done several auditions, but always just check to make sure, as well as with monologues too, because I mean some places could be different that I haven't auditioned at. So yes, and then have a good outfit picked out for the audition. Now, this is a little bit confusing. Again, you should check your email for your school because sometimes they'll tell you what to wear. But usually for women, we wear dresses, or we wear, a skirt and a nice top. And then guys, it's obviously slacks and like a tie. So, I mean, it's kind of formal, but not too formal. So I usually wear like this black skirt with this, this black and white shirt, and I wear like a shawl over it. And I feel like that's very appropriate with it, and flats, because my school actually, I think it was last semester, they said no heels. I don't know if there was an incident, but some places don't want you to wear heels. So I would suggest flats, especially if you're a girl, just because like flats work a lot better, and that way you don't have to worry when you're walking in there about tripping and falling. I would recommend flats because that is what I have worn, and it's just more comfortable, and it's easier to walk in there and walk out you know, you don't have to worry about tripping. Even if like you are comfortable in heels, it's still, I don't feel like it's the best thing for an audition. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. So wear something either like a dress or a nice shirt and a skirt. I've wore dresses before, just something kind of like dressy but not too dressy, because you don't want your, you know, them to be like, oh, look at her outfit, you know. You want them to look at your acting and look at your singing. And as well, that's another thing with makeup is I mean, I know I usually have a lot of makeup on like now, so this I would not be wearing for an audition. It's usually like just neutral colors, you know. I mean, foundation and concealer, that doesn't really matter because they're not really going to pay attention to that. But especially like with your eyes, I love doing crazy eye makeup. But when it comes to my audition, I do very subtle, cool makeup because it's like cool tone. I do it like that because I want them to focus on my acting and my singing rather than how good my makeup is. So just to have it to brighten your face up with everything. But other than that, I mean, just light makeup. So then the next preparation is do self-care the night before. This is something else that's very important. I would suggest, so yeah, do self-care the night before. So something like taking a bath or meditating, because preparing for an audition and like doing an audition can be very stressful at times. So just kind of a release of the tension the night before is such a good thing, and I feel like it helps you better prepare for it so you're not just stressed out and going crazy over it. So just like take, like, even if it's only 30 minutes, just take some time to yourself to be completely relaxed and at ease with everything, because like I said, it can be very stressful at times. So they're very important to do self-care. So now I'm going to give you some tips. Tip number 1, drink lots of water. And there's a good point why you should drink lots of water, because you see how I'm doing that? Because I'm talking a lot. You're going to be talking in an audition. Not as long, but you're going to be talking and you're going to be singing. So it is very important to drink water. And honestly, on audition days, that's all I drink all day. I don't drink anything else, not even like juice or milk, anything like that. Because it's always good to just drink water so you're hydrated, you're ready to go. It's very important, obviously. Also, so your mouth doesn't get dry, because then I'll sound weird. Like, when I'm waiting to go, when I have a couple people ahead of me, I still drink a little bit of water. I try to, like, about like a minute before I go in, because most of us are still in our head practicing our monologues before we even get called into the room. Or I am anyway. Okay, tip number 2, avoid any and all dairy products. So like, you know, milk, cheese, all the good stuff. So avoid any and all dairy products, because I drank chocolate milk before an audition, like not right before, but it's still like, I feel like it affected me later. So like, that's why I said, like, now it's just water all day, so I won't have an issue, and I know I'll stay hydrated, and my mouth won't get dry and stuff like that. Also, processed sugar, caffeine, fried foods, chocolate, especially soda, ice water, because that can affect your lungs too, when especially when you're singing. So it's weird, but it's like just, you know, room temperature water. So like a water bottle, that's what I usually have, or I fill it up with in my big water bottle. So that's good. And spicy foods. So yes, a lot of good stuff, but I mean, caffeine can make your heart race. Spicy foods can mess with your lungs as well, and like your vocal cords when you're trying to sing or just project your monologue in general. So yeah, you want to avoid all that stuff. And now things to eat is, you know, fruit, chicken or fish, veggies, peanuts, honey, like just, yeah, stuff like that that's not going to affect your vocal cords or your body like the good foods would. So I mean, just eat lots of fruit and veggies, even like a PB&J sandwich, because it's like peanuts. Yeah, I mean, I usually eat light because, you know, an audition can be stressful, but also don't not eat anything, because that can affect you too, because auditions are usually later on in the afternoon, and if you don't eat all day, it's like by the time it gets to that point in the day, you might feel queasy, like even more queasy. You might feel tired, you might feel dizzy or want to pass out, and that's not good at all. So make sure you eat. So even if it's light, so just eat like fruits and vegetables, if anything, you know, even if you just have some fruits and vegetables, make sure you eat something, and so you're not feeling like that. So yeah. So those are just some of my preparations that you should do and some tips. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions on how to prepare, or if you want me to give you any more tips, just let me know down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week with another video. Bye guys.